wrong way, every which way. Like, it's gotta be, okay, it's all good.
All right, I'd like to call this meeting of the Richland County Fair Committee to order on Wednesday, October 23rd at 5:02 p.m. Was there proof of notification? Wonderful. Then I would entertain a motion to approve our agenda.
I so move.
Motion by Sandy Campbell, seconded by
I'll second.
Scott Gall. Any further discussion on our agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to agenda item number 4, which is approval of our previous minutes. Chance to read them, any additions, corrections? Motion for approval would be appropriate.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Scott Gall, seconded by Sandy Campbell. Any other additions, corrections, discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion carries. On to agenda item number 5, public input. Is there any public input? Hearing no public input, then we will move on to agenda item number 6, our financial reports.
Not a whole lot going on. We are still waiting for some of the checks to be finished for our premiums and stuff. But outside of that, once I get those, I'll get those sent out. Yeah.
Comments, questions, concerns on those reports? All right, number 7, National Night Out.
So I'm on the National Night Out Committee. We've had it 4 years, started out at the campus. Then obviously the closure of the campus, this year moved it to the city parks. It's on the backside of the dikes back by the tennis court. The fundraiser goes to the sheriff's department and the city police for the K-9 is usually where the funds go. And I personally have always thought we should have it out there. So the committee's asking if August 5th of 25 that we could rent the fairgrounds. We've never been charged anywhere we went. Was at the campus and we would utilize it just that one day, which involves a lot of benefits to come. So I guess that was the question for the sheriff's department. Mainly they do a run. We do demonstrations, emergency DNR. Everybody comes out and then there's food trucks or it'd be an opportunity for the stands to utilize the stands to have food.
Motion would be appropriate if people want to accept it. If not, then say no. Also consider that funds being raised for this is going to a county taxpayer funded entity put on at a county taxpayer funded land property. So I think any fee should be waived, if anything, because it's going to benefit us as a community and county since we own it. So.
It's Vernon County's been doing it for several years and it's a really big event. It's growing every year. I think last year, it was probably
more than
8.
this last year.
What's that?
It was more than what it's been the last couple of
Yeah,
years.
it's growing every year. It's just a lot of people were driving up to the city parks garage, not knowing what's going back there because of the dike had it all blocked.
I guess since we on recording, if people want to come back and listen to it, and what is National Night Out, can you actually like describe it? I know you talked to the raises funds for the K-9 Sheriff's Department, Police Department, but like who all attends that?
It's
Fire
really
department attend with some trucks and firefighters, the ambulance there is.
It's really a night that was designed for the public to interact with the police and show that relationship and help create that relationship within the community is what it will really the founding part of National Night Out. It just took us a long time to actually get it started here in our county. So next year will be just our 5th year.
And after, there's Human Services is there, ADRC is there. So there are other, county services that are there as well and that are highlighted. Emergency management, ambulance service typically shows up. So yeah, it's really a great community outreach event to talk through all of the various services, not only the city and the, the city and the county both offer. I would say, Scott, would you agree?
I agree. It's the one time that we can all just kind of bring our stuff, and I think the fairgrounds will give us more opportunity with the weather. We can use connection building and different things depending on what's going on, just to make it even bigger. Because again, Vernon County, it's huge, and the more sponsors you get, they do fireworks at the end. We've done a light parade with the emergency vehicles leaving. So it's just a great night. It's worked out really well the last 4 years. Looking to make it bigger.
And they do a parade out on the track with their vehicles.
Yep, and we could do, with the grandstand there, we could do extrication, we could land a helicopter. There's all kinds of opportunities that we could do.
See the dog running and how you apprehend somebody.
That's right.
Like lights cost, if you use all that, like, is that gonna be like an expense, or is it just a normal?
There shouldn't be, it should be done by dark.
I
That's how we
agree
try
with
to
that.
get out of there.
I just didn't.
Shouldn't be
The
much more
expense
than.
I really
what we
see
have.
out of there, water expenses, or that'd be like outside of the normal for just having it at the place.
Just a few extra things plugged in probably for the day.
Yeah, that's too crazy.
No.
So I guess a motion would be appropriate to allow National Night Out to be at the fairgrounds on that date and have it reserved booked so there's no other going, and then to waive our policy on fees, if that's appropriate with committee.
I so move.
Okay, motion by Sandy. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Brookins. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Agenda item 8, gate prices.
Okay, so after last meeting, kind of my marching orders was that I would sit down with Candace and we would start discussions on doing away with having to pay back the county the money that they invest out of the tax levy, and that the fair would be issued that money every year, get to keep that. And by being able to do that, we can look at eliminating gate prices and having free entry into the fair. Through preliminary discussions, we're leaning towards possibly doing that. Further discussion needs to be done, but it's looking good at this point in time, but it would have to move up through the proper motions through the rest of the committees first before it become official. Mr. Chair.
And Mr. Chair, my question was just, would that still make us whole? I mean, would we be able to sustain, with that money in there, is it gonna be enough? And, Josh had said the discussion was looking pretty positive on it. And so I feel comfortable then taking that to the executive committee and asking for permission to have that be more of a donation toward the fair or something along those lines than a loan per se.
Good faith towards the taxpayer.
Correct.
Good faith towards the
Yeah,
state.
because it does benefit, I mean, yes, it benefits people outside of Richland County too that come to the fair, but
It also brings people
it
in,
does.
it spends money.
And I think
Right,
we've
right.
lost people, as you and I discussed,
Yep.
because people, the largest complaint you hear is that they have to pay to get in, and then they have to pay to get the wristbands and pay to do this. It's just been too expensive, so it's actually pushing people away. So we're trying to figure out a way to get them to come back to the fair and also open it up to others. And then we would still look at, then we would charge for entrance into the grandstands for the events there. We have the existing ticket booths, so it would be way less on everybody's burden to get volunteers in there to man gates, set up gates, tear down the gates, and then be able to make more money on larger events and stuff like that, more crowd to entertain those.
Do we have to pay taxes on?
Yeah, we learned that
On the
at Fair
gates.
Convention, or not, district meeting, they were talking about that.
Yeah, you have to pay.
Remember what
you have
they-
to pay tax on.
Remember what they talked about on that?
That's why we went away from the grandstand charge,
Yeah.
because we were able to bury it in the gate price.
And then what was the
I
other?
don't know what that affects. something like
Exhibitors
that.
or something had to, vendors had to, we have to give them a form, I guess. Does that pertain to
Yeah,
that
that's
tax?
the SR 244.
Does that pertain to the actual?
It would be for any objects that we sell, because they said that if it was like somebody doing like a tractor pull and they gave out like a free t-shirt with like an extra $1, they don't have to fill that out, but if they sold the t-shirt on the side, then they have to fill that out.
So that'd be a good thing to investigate if we decide to proceed forward with the grandstands, make them come out and pay tax on it.
And you know, don't leave out still having a nominal fee or something too to get in anywhere, you know. Or we have to leave the same, one of the two. It's something worth exploring, but we better have some good stuff on bringing up, like packing, why we choose to do and how to be okay, so.
Okay.
Anything else on gate prices? No, is the committee okay still with doing that, exploring, that? Still, it's gotta go up through the rest of it, so. Alright, general update, agenda item number 9.
We've had the Hub City Jerk Drags, they sent out an email today actually talking about possibly looking at future events at the fairgrounds. They said they were very satisfied with how everything went. It did turn out very well. They were very thankful. So they asked me about some of the dates. We're discussing that. And then also we had the Wheels of Time there, which also went very well. And then this upcoming weekend, we have our storage move-in. So they'll be going from 8 to noon on both Saturday and Sunday.
Water is currently shut off there, however, nothing is winterized yet. And the first full week in November, that's when I'm scheduling Works Plumbing and Heating to come in, and we'll be installing those 2 new well house buildings, along with all new above ground pressure tanks and plumbing, and then we'll winterize everything at that point. But we have had to shut the water down completely because we did have a couple water lines break. And it's not that they froze, it's just that the valves got weak and cracked. And they were spraying out, and the only way to shut those water down was to shut the wells down at 10 o'clock. So,
That was after the fair?
yes, that was less than a week,
Last week.
last week. We did also have some problems with a grinder pump during the Hub City Dirt Drags, which it turned out that we found later on and remedied the problem that the grinder pump was improperly installed, and that's why it was not pumping
By the Kiwanis building?
by the Quantas
That's
building.
always been an issue there.
And actually, the real reason is when you install that grinder pump, there is a U-pipe that you have to manually push down with a long pole, and then there's a lever to lock over top of that. And if you do not do that, the pump will pump, but it'll sit there and just circulate the water, and that's why it kept going. And that U-channel, or the U-pipe, was never properly pushed down with the lock on top of it until we pumped out all the water to the bottom and then found it like that. So it has been fixed. We tested it after we got it all clamped into place, and thus far we haven't had an issue since, so.
Is that a new pump that's in there?
It
I know
is.
if they used to take it, go get it fixed and then put it back in. But I think
There is a
that's new.
spare pump in building 10, and then it has a new pump down the hole right
Yeah,
now.
I thought it had that.
So it just, you know, probably never got properly installed, and nobody really caught on to it, so. And you had a question on water
On
heater?
the water heater in the storage stand.
That I have not heard, that's been taken out
I
yet,
said something to Brian about it, so,
but we will make sure we get
yeah,
that.
before it freezes.
Yep.
Storage coming up last year, we had a couple incidents with the doors kind of got open. Is that?
We went through and replaced a bunch of latches on the doors. That's why some of them did end up popping open, is that there was, I don't know if everybody's familiar with it, but there's a small eye bolt that screws into the lumber, and basically they just ripped out the lumber, so a lot of that stuff has been repaired, so. And with new door locks being properly adjusted, that should help as well.
Is there any damages after that, National Night Out or the Wheels of Time?
There was no damages. After the Hub City Dirt Drags, they actually did really well on setting up, and when they left, they almost left it cleaner than when they came. So they did a really nice job.
I know they really like the venue and want
They
to
do.
use it a couple times a year, so.
Are there a lot of people?
For the fall, they said they were happy. Spring, I guess, is bigger.
And they do have an idea for some possible more events that we could hold like during the fair too. They know of a circuit that you can get into, bring it to the town, where it doesn't cost the county anything from the town, but they bring a heck of a pop.
And that's something maybe we could add to Thursday night. You know, we've always had free gate, but then if you charge it the grandstand the 4 nights, if the tax thing works out, I think that's a great idea.
I think the big thing we're looking at is actually having entertainment every single night to start to boost things back up out there. So. We'll see what they can provide, what they offer, and what we can do.
Right. I know a few times when there's been large group events out there, it's just a lot of things just happen and people around and things just break or wear out and needs to be repaired, so I'm glad that they're moving that.
They did a really good job of keeping parking too. I mean, they parked their people. So you didn't have kids out in the, the parking lots, maybe doing donuts like years past, what we had issues.
Yeah.
There was people actually keeping an eye on stuff all the time, so that was nice too.
Other questions? Updates? No? All right, anybody got any future agenda items? Fair conventions in January, we'd have a meeting. I think there's a meeting that's needed between now and,
I was gonna say that
Whenever.
the end of next month is gonna be close to Thanksgiving, so I'm not sure if we're having that.
Christmas, money, Christmas. It's gonna be Christmas and nobody's going to be down.
do we need to have another meeting
I think you should do it after the fair convention.
after fair
If
convention?
nothing comes up.
Is there anybody interested in going to fair convention? Would you have money to pay to have people go for their entry fee? The fair convention.
I probably will be there because I'm in the Dells that weekend for a convention, like I normally do. But I just stop over on Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah.
Because the expo hall's open. And then usually we meet with Lisa,
So you have to
if
set.
we're gonna continue that contract. So that usually is a nice place to sit down, understand if there's changes with, like she did this year of gas surcharges and different thing. That's where we usually learn that. Catch COVID? Twice. At the convention, I've got COVID twice, so I love going there.
What do you think about meeting after fair convention? It's fair convention at that expo hall, you get, different vendors, different entertainment opportunities, and I think if we get some people go there, kind of go and bring back ideas, and we can come back here and take all that, look at it, see what it all costs, and then discuss and get stuff on paper by like February, March.
To start advertising it.
Yeah. What do you guys think about that process? Take the next couple months off unless there's something real pertinent, then we can meet in between there, but.
Cause really, I mean, the biggest thing going on is storage. You guys get that put away. It should be
Yeah, we're
pretty quiet out there, right?
Yeah, we're pretty self-sufficient on that one. Once that's done, it's just kind of getting well stuff done after that. There's to wrap things up for the year.
Have you ever thought about security cameras for out there?
Yeah, we're looking into that. Looking at a secure system that actually has good backing behind it, that's reliable. We had some issues we have a security system put on a highway and it's had its issues, so we're looking at alternatives. MIS is currently working on that right now.
I just, the last 2 years we've had catalytic converters stolen and
So we did this last season.
you didn't just.
We had no
2
break-ins.
years. the
Yeah.
2
2 years ago.
We had no break-ins, nothing damaged, so everything went pretty well.
Motion for adjournment?
I make that motion.
Motion by Scott, seconded by
Sandy.
Sandy. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Carries. How was the recycling event?
Good. Julia does a phenomenal job. They, people with no babysitting, handle the event